Greetings and welcome back to yet another video by OSI's Online IELTS. My name is Anish Patel and I'm the academic head here at OSI. So in today's video, we are going to learn how to write an essay introduction. Now, as we all know, in both IELTS Academic and IELTS General, in the writing module, task 2, you have to write an essay that is at least 250 words long. Now, we have done a video before on essay writing. If you remember, it is the first video that we posted on our playlist for the IELTS playlist. Make sure to watch that video before you proceed so you know the marking criteria that I'm going to refer to while explaining this introduction. Also, in this video, we are only going to focus on two different question types in the IELTS essay. They are the most common question types. The first one is, to what extent do you agree or disagree? And the second one we'll take a look at is, discuss both views and give your opinion. Now, these I've found are the most commonly used question types in the IELTS test. So anyways, without wasting any time, let's jump into the slides. I'll show you what a question paper looks like. So on the exam day, this is exactly what you will see apart from the topic. Everything else is going to be the same. Writing task 2, you should spend about 40 minutes on this task. The remaining 20 minutes are supposed to be for task 1. Then there is your main topic in the box. It says, nowadays, nations are becoming more interesting and developing, better thanks to the mixing of different nationalities and cultures. To what extent do you agree or disagree? There are further instructions over here. It says, give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. And you have to write at least 250 words. Now, you have to follow these instructions. 250 words is part of the task response, which is 25% of your total score. So make sure you write at least 250 words. And if I were you, I would write up to 275 to 285 words, just to be on the safer side. If there are certain words that are repeated very often, they will be deducted from the overall total of the word count. All right. Now, as you can see on the screen again, it's the same question. I would like to highlight the instructions in the bottom that say, give reasons for your answer and blah, 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 blah. Now over here, it is very, very possible that students might misunderstand this. It says, give examples from your own knowledge or experience. Now, that doesn't mean that you go ahead and write very, very personal examples such as my father did this, my uncle did that, my best friend did this. Those are very personal examples. Try to avoid them in your IELTS essays. Try to give real life examples. They are way better. They create a better impact as well. All right, so moving on. Now, as you can see on the slide, there are some steps that I would like you to follow when writing an introduction. I have simplified it as much as I can. The first step that you have to do is differentiate between task and topic. So there are two parts of this question, as you can see. The first part, starting from nowadays all the way till cultures, is your main topic. Whereas the question in the bottom, to what extent do you agree or disagree, is your task. Now that we have differentiated those, the next step is to paraphrase the topic sentence. So we'll paraphrase the entire sentence. Now, what does paraphrase mean? It basically means that you are rewriting the statement. You are restating the topic without using the words that are in the question. However, there are some key words that it would be better if you don't change them at all, because you may end up changing the entire topic of the essay, and that will cost you huge amounts of points in your task response. All right, so going back to the slides, when we paraphrase, it is a good idea to pick out phrases and use synonyms for those phrases. So as you can see, mixing of different nationalities and cultures, that basically means diversity. Nowadays is equals to these days. Nations, you can use the word countries. Becoming more interesting and developing, I've just simply put it as appealing and flourishing. All right, so now that we have paraphrased, we need to stop for a while and plan the response. That is the third step that you need to do. Planning is essential in any essay, regardless of being general or academic model. You have to plan your response. The main reason why is because if you don't start by planning, what happens is while writing, you will stop in between. You will start thinking what to write next, what example to give, what point to give, how to explain it. And in that time, you will keep forgetting what you have already written. So your cohesion and coherence will also be affected because you won't know how am I going to connect the ideas over here. So plan your response, use the question paper. You have a pencil, you can just plan your response on the question paper, note down all the points, any examples that you might want to give, and also make sure not to write entire sentences and waste time. Just write one word that should remind you as to what you need to write in the essay. So now if you can see on the screen, you can see the way I have planned my response. I've decided that I'm going to agree with this topic. And my main reason is that it gives a lot of social opportunities, allows us to meet different people, learn about different cultures. That's why countries are becoming more appealing. However, for the developing part, I have mentioned it increases the availability of talent. People with different backgrounds, global experience, they meet up in the same place. That makes it economic hub. Lots of job opportunities are increasing and all that. And just for the variety of the argument, I'll also give them a point of disagreement. I'll mention that it also gives rise to bias. As we all are aware of, there's a lot of racial tensions going on in some Western nations. All right. So now if you can see on the screen, I have compiled the entire introduction paragraph. It starts with this. These days, owing to diversity, many countries are growing to be more appealing and flourishing. It appears to be reasonable as discussed further. Now, what does this sentence mean? It appears to be reasonable. So, before we proceed, I would like to clarify certain things. You have to use formal language when you're writing your IELTS essay. So in that attempt, try not to use words like I, me, you, your, we, our, us. I mean, you can use them, it is fine, you're not going to lose marks, but people usually tend to overuse them in their response. So every time you give an opinion, I notice candidates, they write, according to me, in my opinion, I believe that, I think that. Try not to use those words. Instead, you can just use it like this. It appears to be reasonable. That means the topic, the statement appears to be reasonable. That indicates that I am in agreement with the topic. If you disagree, you can just say unreasonable to some extent or whatever extent that you may feel. That way, it would be a more formal, more clean way to give your opinion. All right. So, further analyzing this sentence, I have changed the structure a little bit. So I mentioned owing to diversity in the beginning instead of the end, which is something you can do as well. There is nothing like you will lose your marks over here due to that. Okay, so hopefully you got a clear idea as to what are the different steps that we need to follow when writing an IELTS introduction for the essay. Now, moving on to the second topic. Now this one here is the same instructions, same set of statements and everything, just the topic is different. It says, some people think that zoos are cruel and should be closed down. However, believe that zoos can be useful in protecting wild animals. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Now this is the second most common essay type that I've seen used in IELTS exams. Again, the instructions are the same. You have to write at least 250 words. So the topic is very clear. Some people think zoos should be shut down. Others think that they can protect wild animals. So topic is fine, but the task is a different story. It says discuss both views and give your opinion. So what does this task mean? it means that regardless of your opinion, you have to still discuss both the views. The view where people are saying that zoos should be closed down, and also the view where people are saying that they protect the wild animals. You have to discuss both of them, and then you give your opinion. You can say I support this one, I mean the first one, or you can say I support the second one, or you can also have an alternate approach where you devise your opinion in such a way that it answers the question, it supports both of them in some condition. So it depends from topic to topic. Over here it is fairly clear, you can choose either one of these opinions and support that. Now let's begin with paraphrasing. So the word zoos is my keyword. I'm not going to change that. There is no proper synonym for it anyways. The next one is cruel. You can use either brutal or barbaric. Both of them are fine. Closed down, I'm going to refer to it as shut down. It's a very close synonym for that. Useful, there are again multiple words: beneficial, helpful, effective. All of them have to be used in different ways. We'll see that in a minute. And then wild animals, I'm just going to refer them as wildlife, and that should be fine. So beginning with planning, the first view has several reasons. Of course, as you can see, animals are kept in confined spaces. They need freedom. Also, they are often mistreated by the zookeepers or even the visitors in some cases. Everyone has seen those WhatsApp videos where people play pranks on animals in zoos. And then another thing I've mentioned over here is it suppresses the natural instincts of animals. Usually the animals, they want to roam around, they want to hunt at their own will and all that, but being in zoos, it won't allow them to do so. So that is the first view why zoos need to be shut down. The second view, however, it does have some reasonable points as well. It offers protection, yes, absolutely, especially for the animals who are on verge on extinction. And then it also provides them food, medicine, shelter. It keeps those animals safe from predators. So yeah, there have been some cases where, when animals were put in zoos, their numbers started increasing. Before they were put into zoos, they were actually on the verge of dying out. So zoos are helpful in some ways, and in some cases they cause some damage to the animals. So it's kind of confusing over here. So what we are going to do in the introduction, is it necessary to give an opinion in the introduction itself? No, it is not. You can just say that I'm going to discuss these views and give my opinion at a later point of time. So let's take a look at my response. It says, few believe zoos are barbaric and they must be shut down, while the rest opine they can be beneficial for wildlife protection. Now that is the paraphrasing of the topic. And then both views have been discussed further, followed by an opinion. Now this is the simplest way you can answer discuss both views and give your opinion question type. You don't really have to give your opinion in the beginning itself. You can wait for it and present your opinion in the ending paragraphs, maybe even in the conclusion or a paragraph before the conclusion, after you have discussed both the views. Or there is an alternate way, as you can see on the screen. You can just replace the last statement. I have mentioned, although the former view is more reasonable, both have been discussed further. So over here you need to keep in mind, regardless what your opinion is, you have to still discuss both the views. So in the second statement, as you can see, I'm talking about the former view being more reasonable. So if you believe that the former view is more important, you can structure your opinion like this. If it is the latter view, you can mention it in a different way. As you can see on the screen, it says, although the latter view is more reasonable, both have been discussed further. And then when you go on into your essay and start discussing them, you make sure to discuss your opinion first. So if you're supporting the former view, make sure to discuss the former view first. Give it more preference, because that is, of course, my opinion. And the same thing if you're opining, if you're advocating for the second view, make sure to discuss that one first, because that's your own opinion. All right. So yeah, that's how you write an introduction in the IELTS essay. Now, I would also like to remind you that this is not the only way to write an introduction. Okay, there are multiple ways. Just make sure that the way you choose matches with the criteria that they require for the essay. Rest of it you can just structure any way you like, as long as you follow a proper cohesive and coherent pattern of writing. Right, so thank you for watching today's video. I hope you liked it. If you did, then make sure to give us a like, share our videos, drop some comments, let us have some feedback, and let us know if you want to see some specific videos about some specific topics related to IELTS in the future, and I'll make sure to keep them into consideration when I'm doing the next one. Right, so thank you for watching. Have a nice day.